Erection, testing and commissioning of MEB systems for metro rail projects, airports and mega infrastructure projects. He is an active member of Institute of Engineers and Chartered Electrical Engineer at the Ministry of Electricity and Water in Bahrain. So we welcome you.
So good afternoon everybody. I take lunch. Had a good lunch? Along with me. Don't sleep. I don't tell you to sleep. So, how many people in this audience travel by metro train in Hyderabad? Very good. So, you should clap me. I was in this project almost for the past 10 years, right from the concept stage and the technical evaluation, awarding the contract to the LIT. After that, again, my company was the consultant to the LIT. I want to just a small video about my company and where I am from now. A small 2 minutes video, we don't know. ICT 2019. Third March. Session. Check.
Invited.
Yeah, the first one.
Sound. Volume.
A mic better.
Okay. You don't have chart?
Cable ఉంటుంది. Cable దాంట్లో
Okay, on this presentation. Please settle down. Excuse me, back benches. Yeah. Sorry, I tried to show something about my company, but it didn't happen. Maybe we'll try it and take a chance in the end. I'm from a company called AECOM, that architects, engineers, contractors, operation men. That's my company full abbreviation is. My company is located in San Francisco, USA. We are about 90,000 plus employees across the globe, working in 126 countries. In India, we have about 434 employees. In India, about mainly the sector which I am working, that's metro rail projects. The 11 cities metro rail projects are happening and running on. Out of 11, 10 projects my company is there, and I was party in about 9 metro projects in different capacities, either detailed design or pillar design and all. So I'll take you through metro rail systems basically, what are all it contains, not only the train which you see and you travel, there are a lot of other things which are behind it. I'll try and explain as much as possible. If it is going like this, good. If it is going like this, don't worry. We'll try again. So why is metro rail? Without metro rail you can't live, you can live, but still a lot of congestion. We have money to do it, otherwise at least there are some countries or some international agencies ready to fund the project because the project is very expensive. The roads are very congested. We have a lot of obstructions in the road, roads are not very clear, and a lot of personal vehicles. And bus network is very slow. Anybody know what is the average speed of the bus in a city, metro city like Hyderabad? Loud again? 20. It's once upon a time, but now it's 40. The latest statistics says. So in my metro, you can travel up to 34, 35 kilometers per hour on average. So I'm just taking you a little faster than the bus. And as I told you, a lot of vehicles are coming onto the road. So we need to decongest the roads by introducing metro. These are three different types of metro which we normally design, depends on city capacity and the requirements. The light metro is about 30,000 capacity, that PHPDT, peak hour, peak direction traffic. That's in 1 hour, in one direction, 30,000 people I can carry. That's medium metro, 30 to 50,000, high capacity about 50 to 80,000. In normal LRT coach, LRT trains, it will be 4 coaches, means 4 dabbas. In medium capacity, it will be 3 to 6. In high capacity, 4 to 8. So there are some advantages just listed out. You can read them very well. There are some disadvantages too. That is, this is a very, very capital intensive project. Each kilometer of elevated stage project costs about 200 plus crore per elevated stage, train. If it's underground, it will be much more higher. It will be around 500 plus. But it will give returns in multiple ways. One is minimum number of accidents, decongestion, pollution free, comfort, travel and all that. By now I think everybody might have read the advantages. In the metro rail there are two systems basically. Now normally we work as two counterparts, civil counterparts, system counterparts. I normally represent systems. Today we talk more about systems. In civil, we have the elevated, the stations. Pier means the column that we call it as pier, and the transgirders, which are connecting between two piers, and precast slabs, that is for platform, concourse, etc. And the underground station, we have a diaphragm wall, not to allow you, mud to come into that, and then we have the protection for the station, tunnel, where the train passes tunnel tubes, and then precast slabs for the tunnel tubes, and then stations too. Depot is compulsory for any metro train project because we operate about 16 to 17 hours a day. 5 to 6 hours we will stop in the night. So that time normally we do a lot of maintenance, overhauling, and for that I need a facility to park my trains and do the overall, the periodical maintenance, heavy maintenance, light maintenance, etc. When you come back to systems, in railway station we have a MEP. That will make a course like this, mechanical, electrical, plumbing. In this audience, anybody can become the MEP expert in future like me. And AFC, automatic power, fare collection, collecting money, the tickets, power supply. ECS, environmental control system, where you are very comfortable, right? That's in the underground station. Signaling and telecommunication. It's not a telecom where you see the BSNL. This telecommunication is built for my metro rail project, metro rail operations. The lifts and escalators also we have. And UG stations we have the platform screen doors and similar all other, except the platform screen, everything is similar to both railway and underground. And depot also we have the MEP and other facilities. This is how an elevated station looks like. Of course, some Hyderabad people might have experience. We call this street level, where the buses are flying and food supply, and people take this there and go to this we call as concourse level, where you buy the tickets, and from there you go to the next level. The train is moving here, right? That is called platform. This is elevated station. There are some stations we built an earth also, where the land is available. In that case, the concourse, this area may not be available. From street, they go to the platform directly. I think it's very difficult to understand this picture, but I don't have a better picture. That is an underground station. This is your street level, where we built some malls for the people to encourage. From there they go to the concourse level where the tickets and all they buy, and from there they come down. This is my underground platform. So I will be excavating all this area to build my underground station. When I excavate so much, the deep of minimum 14 meters to 25 meters from the existing ground. So I need to take a lot of protection in terms of waterproofing, in terms of protection of the earth, and then earth surges and a lot of other things. So in the depot, if you see, this is a kind of a true picture of a Chennai Metro Rail project where we executed. The trains are parked here. And there are a lot of overhead catenary system. And this is from Bangalore Metro. We have third rail current collection system here. So, and the terminal is little different than others. It's we call it as rolling stock. Means the stock is rolling on the tracks. That's why it's called rolling stock. That's trained up us. This picture is from Delhi Metro. The emerging trends which we are talking about today. Initially, when we start, this is what our status is. It's controlled manual driving. The driver is there. He controls everything. Start, stop, door open, door close. Any emergency will evacuate the people, everything. I'm sorry. In the second stage, we are semi-automated control with the driver. It's normal hours, the train have control from OCC, Operation Control Center. In peak hours, that taken over by the pilot or driver. It does some of the partial time is engaged. In Hyderabad, this is status now. You see the driver, but he doesn't do anything. Just simply watch guard. He's an attendant. And the trains in Hyderabad and some other metros in India are ready or equipped for fully automated driving. Without driver also you can run the trains. Right now they are running in Dubai, Hong Kong, Malaysia, and many other European countries. You can name it in a big list. But still that is a challenge. Sometimes it is okay, sometimes the trains are colliding each other because of some bugs. In the recently, anybody, I don't know whether it or not, Hong Kong, there are two trains, they hit each other. The signalization, there is a bug in the software that was made that accident. That's the reason we are in India. We tried in Delhi Metro on a test run, but it's not so successful. So this is what the level of automation we are now. Internet of Things and all, everything comes into there. This is all being done by electrically, not by software alone. It's a total embedded system, both for electronics, electrical engineering, and controls of the propulsion and traction system. These are all when I design my rolling stock, the important parameters which we see is, one more innovation I wanted to say, this coach body. Indian Railways, normally we have this carbon steel. From there we moved to stainless steel, and now we are working on aluminum. One is to reduce the weight of the coach, the second one is aesthetics. And aluminum had a very good mechanical properties. We will say aluminum is very soft, but not so. That's almost the aluminum alloy coming as good as stainless steel mechanical properties. And the life cycle cost. What is meant by life cycle cost? Anybody can answer me? Life cycle cost.
Span.
That is span. Life cycle cost. My capex plus opex put together life cycle cost. Capital expenditure and operational expenditure for 15 years or 20 years, throughout the life of the system. So when I design or when I select a system or I recommend to any client or to the department, this is one of the important. That is, everybody is working on that. In terms of power consumption, in terms of wear and tear, replacement units, the performance, what not everything. You name it, everything. Good, right. And hello. The other one is about the scheduled speed. You might have noticed, every 1 kilometer I have station. My train starts and then stops immediately, like another bus. But trains I can't do so much, right? For that I need a proper performance criteria. It drives the propulsion which I am installing. It should be able to handle in such a way that with less power it should give a better torque to get the acceleration, move up to the coasting and then come back, because in next 2-3 minutes it will stop, right? So that's one important parameter which you need to select. The remaining all efficiency, everybody knows that. Everyone is, all the electrical engineers, right? Now we have using motors of what category for high efficiency? IE1, 2 something is coming in India. IE3. What is the advantage of IE3? Some research scholars also here. Check it. Google it. You will get it. This is what I already told. Most of the metros, the maximum design speed about 95 kilometers per hour. Sometimes it's 100 kilometers. Depends on the the alignment of the track, both horizontal and vertical alignment. Normally, when you design at such speed, 10 kilometers you keep as an operating cushion. Acceleration between 1 to 1 meter per second square, and deceleration, that's braking, it will be 1.1. In case of an emergency, it will go up to 1 point. Otherwise, if you put it more sudden, that will be danger to the passengers who are in. So this is where my train performance is. The new trend is coming up is here. Up to here I draw the maximum power. This is just a constant speed. With a floating power, it will move on. And it's coming back. I have to apply the brake to deceleration. In this, I use the electrical braking that I start using the motor generator. We call it regenerative braking. Earlier, when this one is almost we cut off here and then we are not able to absorb this volume of power because the quality is an issue. Now the controls have come in such a way that about 3 years before, my deceleration about 30 kph, I should stop, I can't draw that power, regenerative power to the grid. But now the technology has came up and we are introducing in Pune and Nagpur, even up to 2 kilometers per hour speed, we are able to absorb that power back into, or evacuate the power back into the grid and utilize in my train. That's one new technology came in and which is going, that's an emerging, I can say. So as I told in the depot, my trains are stable like this. People go below and then see all the mobile parts and then lubrication, everything. Every day normally before go for line, we do a fitness certification. Every train. Every day. Without that, the train doesn't go because it's dealing with a lot of public. And then handling about 30,000 people or 60,000 people in a day, in 1 hour, in the whole day, it will be in lakhs. After high-tech city opening, Hyderabad metro now handling about 4.3 lakhs passengers per day. Before that it was something around 3.8, but now it is 70,000 to 80,000 people have been increased because of IT crowd. So this is about the power supply. Predominantly in India we use these two kinds of traction power supply, 7 towards DC, 25 kV AC. When the metro team was started in the beginning, it is all 7 towards DC current traction supply. It can be third rail in the bottom or in the catenary like what we saw in 25 kV. Subsequently, 7 towards DC system, most of the things are imported. It's not indigenous and its cost is also a little high. Since the voltage is low, the losses are very, very high because my I is going up and I square R is very high. To optimize that and then have the expertise in Indian Railways, we moved to 25 kV AC, and majority of the metro projects in India, they are using 25 kV AC traction system. Except Bangalore, Kochi, Ahmedabad, all metro projects in India were 25 kV AC or at catenary. And Kolkata, other 3 projects which is totally different towards DC third rail. This is how it looks like, traction system. In final engineering, I think during my time we had this traction, there is a catenary going on, but I don't know really after, now it's clear. It's here till the same, okay, good. So that's how we are very stable, slow and steady. So this is the catenary, where the pantograph of the train takes the current to run. This is a very, very important parameter. Mr. Modi is introducing a very high-speed train, bullet train now, right? Between Ahmedabad to Mumbai. At 85 kilometers I'm designing, now it's going up to 350 kilometers per hour. Then you can imagine how rapid the pantograph moves with the catenary and how to mitigate the spark. So there our engineering is really involved. Kind of, one is the span will be less, and the pressure between the contact wire and the pantograph should be very optimized. It should not give any additional spark or it should not give overpressure. And this is a booster transformer. I think a lot of people morning talk about EMF and EMC. To mitigate that, we use that boost transformer. Because this is running at 25 kV, 50 cycles, 50 cycles. And a lot of other equipment which is going into the train, a lot of inverters, converters, generate a lot of frequency and my signaling and communication. One is this emission from this one will be minimized or downsized through this boost transformer, and others also we do a proper earthing and shielding in terms of earthing and bonding structure, so we'll minimize it, not to have the impact on the neighborhood. Yes, this is a current collection. How many people have got to London Underground Line, LEL? Anybody heard of it? 132 years old that rail is. Below 25 meters from the existing ground level. LEL, that's London Underground Tube. The first metro in the world, I can say. The next they start in America and all. They were using 4 rails. Because the DC system we need positive and negative. 2 rails to run the train, one is for the positive and one for the negative. Subsequently we phased out of that and then came to 3 rails. We are using one of the rail, the running rail as a return path, and for the current one positive bus, so that's called third rail. The third rail can be on top of it, or this arrangement, bottom arrangement or side arrangement. The shoes will be there along the train. When it's moving, it will collect the current through this. So this is another innovation. In fact, so far in India or in other this Europe part, we are using only 750 volts DC. But in China, they went ahead. They are using 1500 volts DC now, so that at least the current will be cut off. Now this research is going on to use 3000 volts DC, again by China and the European part of the world. So this is the 25 kV current collection system. Of course, it is a train, this locomotive and the bus. Here, this is the third rail which I am talking about. There are 2 rails for the train. This is the covered one is for the current collection. There is a DC supply available, 750 volts, and then it will go. I would like to say some merits and demerits of these 2 systems. 25 kV is somewhere it will be later, but anyway, the 25 kV AC traction system. Traction substance per se can be placed about 20-25 kilometers between 2 stations. But whereas DC, we need to have between 2 to 3 kilometers, depends on the density, size of the car and the current draw. Because of that, the cost will be increased a bit, initial capex. And second thing is the high speed DC circuit breakers, which nobody is manufacturing in India. And there are a lot of used DC cables which are copper. That's the reason we are not really favoring into that, and everybody is switching to 25 kV system. I know people can't read it, but I wanted to explain to you all. In metros, they take supply to 110 kV, 130 kV, 220, which is available in the grade. They call it the receiving substation. There they step down to 25 kV, that is for the traction, which is going on the top of the wire, and that 3 kV, that is for auxiliaries. In substation, we call a lot of auxiliaries, right? Its own equipment. Similarly, for the station, we have a lot of other auxiliaries: lighting, power for lift and escalator, power for the AFC, signaling, communication, fans, air conditioners, everything, right? For that, we run a 30 kV cable along the alignment, 2 runs of cable for reliability. Means they have their own 30 kV network within the train, within the their metro corridor. So this drawing is for that. This is basically for Hyderabad we developed. There are 3 receiving substations in different locations, and 2 depots and one in the middle now, Yusuf Kuda. This is one of the design concept. Of course, other metros also are done the same, but here we did a lot of optimization. The optimization and the advancement what we did is, we did simulation studies. We could able to reduce the transformer size, installed transformer capacity size about 40%, both traction as well as the auxiliary. All electrical engineers might have seen this equipment. This is air insulated substation. The semi-indoor type. The GIS but outdoor. It's GIS fully indoor. This outdoor is requires about 4 to 5 acres land strength, maybe more. Normally when you ask for government, they'll say 10 acres because 5 acres for their quarters and 5 acres for substation.
No, future base will be coming.
That's what. Future, we don't know when the future is, but still we ask that kind of space. But whereas in indoor GIS type substation, we can build in about 1450 square yards. It's about less than half acre.
For 33 kV.
I'm talking about 220 kV.
220.
Yeah. Because the metro trains are coming in the metropolitan areas where the land is very, very premium and you don't get the land. If I have land, I can develop something and make a lot of commercial exploitation and then make money on that. That's the reason every metro is going for this. It's still expensive a little bit, but when you look at the life cycle cost between this and this, hardly anything. The study says it's about only 4.5% difference over a period of 15 years. In terms of financial investment, what you're doing now. This is signaling and telecommunication. It's a little dry subject for you all, but bear with me. This is very, very important. It's like, heart for a metro train system. Without signaling, the train can't move. Initially, we have the olden days, the station master used to throw one belt. Anybody remember that? What is that? Can you tell me? That's a clearance for him that he can proceed. That is called, disc throw system. Then they came to flag and then, mechanical signaling. Subsequently, they came to interlocking. They do interlocking. Suppose this train is here, which is supposed to go to the next station and next track. Unless this is clear, this will not get released for the movement from train to the next station. That is interlocking. The same thing we adopted in metro train when you start, because that is technology available about 10-15 years before. And subsequently we move to CATC, Continuous Automatic Train Control. The key elements are ATP, Automatic Train Production, ATO, Automatic Train Operation, and Automatic Train Supervision. These three elements are interlinked each other. They work like one cohesive group. That is 5-10 years before the Delhi Metro Phase 1, Phase 2, Chennai, they all adopted the CATC signaling. Now, this is an architecture. There are a lot of equipment which is in line side and the train side. I can share this document to you, maybe you can read and then do some googling. This is the latest technology, CBTC, communication based train control. With this technology, I can place every 300 meters one train. Means in 2 stations, I can place 3 trains, literally. So they can travel as close as possible. We call it as a moving block system. If you look at here, sir, this is one moving block, this is another moving block, another moving block. When the train comes here, this will release signal for the next train which is coming back. So this is the first CBTC technology adopted in India is again Hyderabad. Because being a private client, he did not really worry for the costing, and he did not really worry about the proveness in India. Elsewhere it's already proved, elsewhere it's already working, but in India he is the first client or first project to adopt this CBTC technology. It's working very well. So the little more detailing about this. Here the people sitting in the OCC room, and he get the communication from the field, the station 1 and station 2. In between he can place one train here, one train here, one train here. So we can keep as close as possible the trains. Otherwise, the olden technology had to keep the trains at the stations or behind the stations. You might have seen in nowadays railways. Our train stops in the station or some siding area because and the train is going. But whereas in this, you can allow the trains to go on, and then at least optimize the infrastructure available with us. This is an advantage. This system is a bidirectional. We can, in the same track, we can run the trains up and down without any problem. We can update to driverless because it's continuously monitored elsewhere in OCC. Energy saving. How it saves the energy? Anybody can tell? Maybe PGs? No saving. We are sleeping now. Because even the train stops, still the auxiliaries within the train, the air conditioning, lighting has to work, right? That requires power. Instead of going in 20 minutes, I am keeping the train about 30 minutes on the track. 10 minutes I am burning the energy without anything. That I can save. That's the biggest saving. Second thing is, I can't just shut down my catenary and then going up because it has its own starting time. So that also optimizing. Because I am reducing the time. One is time and second is energy I am saving indirectly. Maintenance is, it's a safe stock, but not really. Still, we have some challenges.
You also save on the momentum also.
Save the momentum. Exactly, sir. Movement of the
That is
trains.
a major part.
Yeah. This picture I kept you all. If you look at any terminal station like Uppal or Miyapur, there is a train going towards that direction and the train came in here. This train has to come to this track, right? So we use these turnouts. And this will be done automatically. No manual intervention. When the train come here, the so-called attendant sitting this side, he will get down or he will go through the train on the other side because that side will be front. So that is how we switch, or we are taking the advantage of CBTC control or CBTC technology in these trains. And telling again, he's only an attendant, he does nothing. Except few patches where we did not commission CBTC because of operational constraints. Recently, the high-tech cities, there is only one track. And another one we have problem near the Secunderabad station. The car is a big issue. But the problem is here we have a approved authority. If I complete my project and then put into revenue operation, the company has to take about 24 various departments approvals. Right from the municipality, fire department, EIZ, RDSO, railway board, independent safety assessor, if I name it, Finally, the CMRS, Commissioner Material Safety. Commissioner Material Safety will come once all this A to Z is finished and then they certify. Here we have a problem with the RDSO. The first stretch, my Mettugoda section is finished about a year back before opening I'm talking about. It was delayed because one is we didn't get the, we in the sense L&T didn't get the permission from the RDSO to go to the next level. That is still challenge when you use the CBTC. Normally, this is very important in life safety. We have a fallback system, that's axle counter. When it comes to a station, it will normally count the axles and then it passes only, it will allow the next permission to next train. That also we are eliminating now. We can go for UTO, unattended operations, the driverless train. So because of all this, mainly because of this, the metro general rules and all, still we are having a lot of issues with this authority, so-called statutory approvals and interventions. Otherwise, the system is so good so far. Here is supplied by Thales, Portuguese, and they were pioneer in this signaling industry.
The UTO, you are capable of running the present rates, capable of...
Exactly, sir. That now they came with the GOA4. I think you have some railway knowledge, if I'm not mistaken. GOA4 in this cable, sir. It's inbuilt. Only thing is we need to fit in some more trackside equipment. Can be done. It's enabled.
So in case of any incident on the track, the power is automatically shut down for that particular section?
That's again a mod table we need to decide because it's a traction, 25 kV overhead.
Yeah.
Third rail, yes, definitely we need to have that interlocking very, but my submission is keep your questions reserved, we'll put it up. Others may get a little worried. But here we didn't have that so far because we didn't go to UTO model. But in maybe I can share my Dubai experience in this, whereas party in traction power supply. I think same thing was repeated, it's not important. Telecommunication system. It's again I'm telling you, it's not your by BSNL phone and all, it's a telecommunication for the metro trail operations. You see how many systems are there. Take your time and read out. I'll pick up some of the important point. This is very important. It's not that others are unimportant, but more visible. PA and VA, public address system and voice announcements. CCTV for the security. Access control and intrusion detection. The next is tether radio. and to transport all the data from the different stations to the field to OCC, we do have an optical fiber network that we call it as backbone network. These all will be supplied, assembled, installed by my telecommunication friends, or telecommunication counterparts. Sorry. Little more detailing about them. One, M&E SCADA. Nowadays, we wanted to do everything automation, IoT. A lot of things are coming up, right? That is possible only when you have this SCADA control, at least in one place. If you have the data where you can control and monitor it, from there you can take the lead and then you can connect to either cloud or you can connect to your net, your phone, whatever it is. Except there is security threat, we need to be careful. Tetra is again a radio within the metro operations, between the driver and station controller and different people who are involved, different stakeholders. And the communication backbone network, that is fiber optic cable to transfer data from all the stations to different locations. Now switch out to automatic fare collection. What is this fare collection? You are buying ticket, right? And then what happens after buying ticket? You are giving a token and then putting in your pocket. And then what you are doing? Scan. Where scan? Scanner for your luggage, but not for the scan. There is a machine. Just you are just showing that. Please check my entry, right? That is called gate, AFC gate. The why we introduced what's need of AFC in metro rail projects. Unless like another our Indian Railways, we have every 2 minutes that ultimate design, one train. So a lot of people keep moving in a limited distance. I could not take 2 minutes. I could not allow the people to go and stand and sleep in the platform because the platform is very small, very tiny platforms. To control that, we need this AFC. With that, once I give you scan and go inside, just show that gate and then go inside, it will have limited time. If you are crossing that, where you are exiting, they will collect you penalty. Collect the penalty from you. Anybody paid so far in Hyderabad? Except Amirpet, because Amirpet has some food stalls. Other places, be careful. Don't spend time within paid area. Go out. You paid it.
What about that card? Metro card is there?
Even that also.
The same thing.
If you spend more time, without travel, you will get redirected. That deemed when you get another trip, at the longest possible trip. Yeah.
I think he has to stay outside, huh?
I can say outside paid area.
Outside.
That before gates, you can spend a hell lot of time. There you don't have any place to sit and enjoy like that. Only paid area has some kind of chit chatting.
But if the train does not come?
It will come, then they don't sell the tickets.
No.
The metro card also, the train doesn't come, means the delay will be maximum 2 minutes. Because every 2 minutes you are talking about. Now it's of course 8 minutes, different matter. That's the reason the program is such a way that travel journey plus 8 minutes. One missed headway we design it.
Yeah.
You can't expect more than one design, one missed headway. That's maximum. In out of 2 corridors, one corridor we are operating at about 6.5, another corridor about 8 minutes. The missed headway is about maximum 8 minutes. So the train doesn't come, another train will come. It should come. Yeah, that is the sequence.
Talking about
They are overcrowded. We have to wait for another.
In platform, normally, yes, of course, it is. That's the reason the trains are designed maximum stand is then sitting. The capacity is about 1,000 plus passengers. Only 300 is lucky people can sit. 700 has to stand. And the crush load, in fact, still people can go, but people, most of the people when they get in, they just stay at the gate. They don't go inside. Everybody wants to be comfortable.
Bus also.
Everywhere. Bus, train, lift, per se, that also, right? That right now we don't have that problem except Amirpet earlier.
High-tech city has got a lot of problems. load, you should make it 4 coach.
So the train's configuration of Hyderabad Metro, it's the 3 and 6. We can't make it 4. It will come. Yeah, 3 will become. We have to add another train. That's the configuration we do. If I add one more coach, there will be problem for the signal. So I told you that. Sorry. This is divided into paid and unpaid area. Paid area means where you just put the token and get inside that paid area. Can you view business after this meeting, please? Please. Entry exit is automatically controlled by electromechanical systems. That's what I was telling you. Pattern can be paid area, in paid area for a defined period of time or travel defined distance. And this is, we have a centralized control system. The guy sitting in the OCC or elsewhere in his office, he can monitor how much collection is making for the day, including the cards. Because the cards money is deducted and it's added to that. And you're asking me about that headway. The platforms are designed actually for the planned headway of around, here is we are talking about 90 seconds, that's 1.5 minutes. The width and length of the platform, of course length is determined by the number of cars, but width of the platform also designed right from the paid area where they are paying the ticket or entering into the gate or the AFC gate till down, we can accommodate people. Only thing is they may not be able to catch the first train, they have to wait for the second train if it is crowded, and the peak hours especially. We do prepare business rules for this, how to operate in case of any incidents like cricket stadium, there is a cricket, that time it's a problem. So normally we do a little bit of the manual control also that time. The crowd management is an important issue, so that time we call the police and then they will be supporting our operating staff and then they do it. The monitoring is done very rigorously on those special events. The components are fare media, that is the kind of the passes and then the tokens and the slips, whatever it is. The gates where you are crossing now, so we have the computers for that. TOM, ticket office machine. People can go and recharge. People can buy the ticket on their own. In Hyderabad also we have this TOMs. And ticket reader and portable, that is when you are passing through the gate, there is a ticket reader. Of course the supply will be there as UPS. This is how it looks like. It's a picture of an underground station from Lucknow. This is the picture from Singapore, one of the metro train stations, that Circle Line station. They're all entry, they're all exit coming out. This is a new experience. I think none of you might have seen this. PSGs, platform screen gates and platform screen doors. We are isolating the train with the station with a platform screen door. This one mostly, this is actually a platform screen gate. Here is the entrance to the train. The train is the other side. It's not a shopping mall. Don't mistake it. And this is the platform screen gate, and this is the train. The people stand here. This is the platform, and when the train comes, this is the train door, and this is the platform screen gate door. They open, people go inside, and then that closes first. They closes, the train moves. That is how it is. So this is one of the security norm, and then this is again a latest trend line, mainly to avoid the throwing of the garbage of the track, suicide commitments onto the track, and safety.
Is this being planned at present?
As of now, no. In underground station, basically they're all subway environmental. Without ventilation, we can't survive them. So there we do the air conditioning. If I allow the air conditioning get into the track or tunnel side, I have to burn a lot of energy for the air conditioning. By providing this full height platform screen door, we could able to save 40% of energy only in air conditioning. So far in Delhi it's not there, but all the metros underground stations in India which are planning now are under plan and execution. they were using these full height platform screen doors. It's a kind of an emerging trend, I can say. Not really so, but in India it is. And this cost about 4 to 5 crores a station. The payback is about in 3-4 years time. It's an interesting MEP. All of you can become MEP engineers. We have this electrical, plumbing and drainage. People think that it's a civil, why should I talk about it? No, it's not civil, it's again an electrical mechanical engineer has to do it. Fire detection, fire alarm, firefighting. What is ECS? An area. Environmental control system. And TVS, there are tunnels where the train is passing, right? That we have to ventilate the tunnel also to maintain the temperature of the tunnel in a proper way. Lift and escalator for the comfort of the people, to transport the vertical transportation, and the building management system. So when this is a low voltage distribution, when we design it, this is an auxiliary transformer. Mostly it is 33 by LT. Different capacities depends on the load. There's an LT panel, then the distribution board and UPS. We have standby DC to meet all the essential and critical loads. When this fails, supply fails, automatically DC will come in stipulated time by through EMF panel. During the switching, some of this equipment require continuous supply. The UPS will take care of the transition part. The major is signaling and telecom. We can't afford to lose interruption to that. And in the night, at least 20% station lighting should be an emergency lighting. Automatic fare collection. Otherwise, if it's not working properly, then it's going to be a disaster. In the station control room, we have SCADA. This master clock, public address system, CCTV, and all the pieces. Mostly what we do is we take redundancy at this transformer level. 2 transformers, one standby 100%. Mostly we use both, but one standby and one working like. And we go to the plumbing, water supply. For people drinking we don't provide, but still it's required. Flushing, cleaning. Normally when we do design, the water storage we maintain for 2 days as an underground storage, the 1 day NP or at storage. If there is no water tank, it will be 2.5 days, 3 days. Water distribution in Hyderabad Metro is a pneumatic system. No water tank is not by gravity. There is a pressurized pump at the pump room itself, and that will keep pressurizing the lines, and then when you open it, you will get the water. So when you are supplying water, there must be drainage, otherwise where will the water will go? So we need to plan for all this. It's very important, fire alarm. A lot of people are traveling, a lot of equipment is there which is very expensive and it's very long lead item. So we need to have a proper fire detection. We have this analog addressable fire detection with both heat detectors, smoke detectors, heat and smoke combined. When you detect it, we need to have the firefighting equipment like wet main system, portable fire, small fire you can quench with it, portable fire extinguishers, sprinkler. This room is very unsafe because there is no fire detector at all. And then this clean gas agent, that is enough gas and panel flooding. These are the main components of fire alarm system, which I think everybody might have seen. This is another innovation or a kind of an emerging trend. The very early smoke detection apparatus. It takes the sample on a continuous basis from the different, wherever you install the system, and then any abnormality it will give a warning. If it is more abnormal, it will give a trigger to operate the respective firefighting equipment. These are all fine, when the rooms and all we can install these detectors and all, but in tunnel what you will do? There is a chance of fire, right? So we use this linear heat detection cable. This is a very special type of cable. Wherever the hot spots, it will send the communication to the fire alarm main panel. From there it will go to station control, and accordingly the corrective action and firefighting operation starts. There are sprinklers. You might have seen so many offices, and this is a tip. How it works, you know, this tip is getting some heat, automatically this blow off, and then water comes down. This is portable. Might have seen all this. These are all the hose rails with the pressure around 2.5 to 3 bar, and then we quench the fire with water. This is panel threading and critical rooms like switchgear room, signaling room, communication room. This is very effective firefighting medium. We can't use water because a lot of electronics and power that will get spoiled. This is an expensive solution, but still it is worth. The reason is the downtime of when the equipment fails, the downtime of my system is very high. I can't afford to do that. So not only FM200, nowadays we are using this Nova gas also. It should be environmentally friendly, and it should be Euro certified. Lift and escalator. I think a lot of people might use this, right? Everywhere. This is a lift normally we propose, or everybody is using the machine room less, because it has its own advantage. One is aesthetics, and second thing, headroom is not required. I need not go for bigger structures. Efficient, and regeneration here also possible. You might have seen there's a lift car and there are counterweights. Only for starting it requires power. After that it does it on its own. It doesn't require any power. I think many of you agree with me. During that time, when it's going for braking, in that motor still we can use generator, and then we can take that regenerator power. But it's very, magnitude is very small. But still, why to waste that power? Nowadays we are thinking, or the industry is thinking to store the power in a power cell, used for the next operations or whatever it is. That's another train, emerging train. It's an escalator. It's nothing special, but here we call it flat treads. There are 4 flat treads here to accommodate more people. Normally the escalator runs at about 0.5 meters per second in normal time. If you want the throughput is more, you can increase up to 0.65 meters per second. Whereas the lifts, they travel about 1 meters per second. And throughput of lift is not that as good as an escalator. And how many visited Dubai? Anyone? The world tallest tower now? Yeah, the lifts are running at 8 meters per second from Otis, China. That is the fastest lift so far in the world, I can say. You went there, right? But you didn't go up. This is ECS. There are different components of ECS. This is a chilled water line circuit. These are all the 3 chillers, the cooling towers, different pumps here, a set of pumps here also. How air conditioning happening? Any guess from any audience? What is the fundamental principle behind it? We are getting cool air, but how we are getting the cool air? We are not mechanical engineers, so don't worry. We are electrical, right?
Heat is thrown out of zero.
Sorry, sir?
Heat of the area is absorbed.
Heat removal.
Heat removal.
That heat exchange.
Yeah.
How it is happening?
Exhaust fans.
Exhaust fans. Then why this ACs? We put exhaust fans, no?
It's the process of
Yeah.
Heat sinks.
Heat sink is different. It's heat removal or heat transfer, but different media. What we'll do is the hot air, when the chilled water or cool water come in contact through different media, that's called cooling coils. Normally the chilled water will take the heat from this air, and then the temperature reduces. And how the chilled water is produced? In this chiller. I don't want to get into much into thermal engineering and refrigeration, air conditioning, but this is what it looks like. In air side, the ACs, chillers will produce chilled water. That water will come to these fan coil units and air handling units, and then this is actually the chilled water which is coming to HU, and this is my blue line is air conditioned air or cooled air. And if I do not remove that air from the room, that will get pressurized. So I take the air from this. This is return back, we call it as. So these are all very fundamental engineering or fundamental principles when I do a bigger room where we have completely sealed or subway environment below underground or somewhere. When the fire happens in a closed room, then you may not have enough doors to escape everybody. We need to control the fire and we need to make this safe. So remove all the smoke through the smoke extract system in different levels so that we can at least give some breather. During fire accidents, people did not die or will not die because of fire or anything. They die because of smoke. The oxygen content in the air will be very, very low. When they inhale the carbon monoxide, their lung system and then the whole system get collapsed. That's how people die. To make it comfort, we remove all that smoke when it happens through the smoke extraction system. It's a little bit deeper subject about ventilation and smoke extraction. Yes, we're talking about two tunnels, where the train is passing. The tunnels also need to ventilate. There's no people, but still we need to have temperatures to maintain normally. The reason is the trains are air conditioned. They take the air from the environment and they cool it and give it to us. Unless the ACs are designed to take certain temperature of intake air, the fresh air. To maintain that, we need to ventilate the tunnel through the system. This technology is very higher. Just move on. BMS, Building Management System. Why it's required? So many advantages. The architecture, if you per se look at it, this is at the field level. We have a lot of sensors in the field. This is all transduced from power. Your multifunction meters. There are flow sensors, temperature sensors, level meters, everything. The data will be acquired. It's going to this automation level where you have these RTUs and the servers. And then at management level, people monitoring it and then we control it. This is a simple architecture of a BMS, Building Management System. If it is for a building, if it is for a plant, same situation. If it is for any processing industry, same. First acquire the data from the field, reset it. All automation happening here where you will make a lot of algorithms, programs, and then monitor at this level. How many people heard about RAMS? R-A-M-S. Not RAMS. RAMS those know. RAMS, R-A-M-S. Reliability, availability, maintainability and safety. Any system we design, including our own personal life, keeping that RAMS in aspect, it will be very good. It should be reliable, it should be available whenever I want. Sir, it's there up to morning, sir, but just now you left, sir, that doesn't work. It should be there 24/7. I'm not criticizing police, but normally police, when the VIP passes, he will be there till VIP moves. When VIP goes, he is not there because he tired by the time and then went off. It should not be like that. Our system should be designed in such a way that they are alert, available, and they are all maintainable. I cannot give a very high level system which is difficult to maintain and inexpensive for maintenance, and then safety. So there this nomenclature and the designs will come in. Most of the metro systems are SIL 1 and SIL 2. For the tunnel ventilation we normally practice, and signaling also SIL 2, remaining all SIL 1 and non-SIL systems. This is meantime between failures.
What the values?
Okay, you want to see the values? I'll say the slides, sir, don't worry. All the slides will give you with free of cost. We don't charge. Can I move on? Okay. This is integrated communication supervision like SCADA, but high-end SCADA and high-level SCADA. So far, what is happening in metro systems are traction have one SCADA, signaling have one SCADA for operation, M&E had another SCADA. Three different group of people, and sometimes there's a clash between them and a lot of other issues, maintainability and then no commonality. To optimize that, nowadays the trend, that's another emerging trend which is coming up now, have an integrated SCADA for everything. If signal is important per se, power also is equally important. When a building cell is also equally important, so why not neglect them? So that's the concept came in, and then we are doing it. So in that we need to be little careful about the cyber security. That's big threat now. Everything data is available across the globe with anybody. Day in, day out, we are seeing a lot of cyber crimes and cyber cases. All our data is with somebody who is hacking, then he can do whatever he wants. So for that, we are creating a unified SCADA platform with the cyber security, with all firewalls, protections, and then IP addresses, and then access controls and whatnot. So many things, but still there is a threat. In that, out of the advantage which I'm talking about, the uniform HMI, that is, what is HMI? Human machine interface. The diagrams and the screens of similar nature and commonality between everybody is easy. Data aggregation, mainly the predictive analysis can be better when you have the unified SCADA, unified control architecture. And then we can add some more new modules, new control modules and operation modules also. Depends on the necessity. We can change the operation philosophy in terms of which is to be on, which is to be switched off and off. So when I'm talking about unified SCADA platform, so many systems are integrated to one. These are all the systems which is available in my metro operations or metro system per se. I need to talk to so many stakeholders. The network should be very robust, reliable, healthy, and everybody should have a communication protocol which is very important. The common communication protocol, it should be open bus, TCP/IP, Modbus, which is more reliable, which is proven, which is robust. With that, I can have instance management in one location, whether it's station control room or elsewhere. I can keep a small space for that. From there, people will understand what's happening around. Let it be 200 kilometers, it doesn't matter. 300 stations doesn't matter. But these guys will get the data in one location. What is happening around the metro network of days. Okay, talk about cyber security. This is now one big challenge we have. Just sometime I get told about that Hong Kong metro. It is now, today morning the press release is it's sabotage. It's not bug. Because they also have very not fancy, everybody is asking for the IoT. Everything I should be on my mobile, Android mobile. A lot of people are cracking it and then hacking it and then do whatnot, they're doing it, right? The people are paying for that, paid for that. So this is one challenge we have when you're really going for latest, updated, advanced technologies. Team is working on that. Hopefully that will be resolved soon. When I have that unified control system, I could able to get this kind of trends and bar charts, whatnot, all the information, hell lot of information available in one go and one click on a dashboard. It's not that a good picture, it's station control room for every station in Hyderabad Metro. This is an operation control center, which is in Uppal Depot. There are 3 screens here, 1, 2, 3, because we have 3 corridors. For 3 corridors, we have 3 different screens. The video walls we call this. The people sitting here in the monitor, and then they don't do much, but still in a kind of an eventuality, in emergency, they will give commands to the people. It's top view. See, these are all your CCTV images. This is for traction supply. This is for the operations of signaling and track. That is how the display available in the operation control center. So now yours. Floor is yours now. Yeah. Yes. Any questions?
We are having a metro system
Sir.
with the rails on the top and the train will be moving below it.
That is Skybus, sir.
Skybus.
Sky.
Skybus. They tried actually in Goa. They made a test bench
That
about,
is there in China.
but not for public use. Still, it's
Not
another
for public
experiment.
use.
Yeah. In India also we did that. In Goa, if you happen to go there, sir, near that Vasco da Gama station, right? Still, you can see the structure hanging around.
Yeah.
During trial run, it was given a bad result, so it was dropped off. Mainly security and safety reasons.
So basically, what are the advantages of having that kind of system?
The people say we don't occupy more ground space.
More ground space.
Yeah,
But it has to withstand the gravity. No?
it can, because the beam is designed such a way that, like monorail beam, it's only one beam, but the train is moving on that. Of course, it's the top, but still, either it takes. Possible. I mean, structurally, it's not a big challenge. Safety-wise, it's a challenge. That's the reason it is not.
Safety-wise,
It's not proven yet. Yeah.
Passenger.
Mainly the public comfort. Yeah, public safety is an issue.
Otherwise, it can be used.
Maybe, but you and me can't do that. They may do it. Next.
So metro is an interlocking system.
Loud again. I could hear.
Metro train.
Once upon a time interlock, but not now. Everybody is going for the. Initially, we went with the FTC, then CATC, then CBTC. Interlock still we use in the depot because the trains passing at very slow speed. So we don't want to spend more money where the trains are not running in full speed. In depots, normally we run about 15 to 25 kmph, depends on the curve and the need. Yeah.
You choose 750 for Bengaluru.
Can you loud?
750 volt DC for Bengaluru.
Yeah.
What is the reason?
Very good question. All the metro trains per se, when its metro train was thought of or conceived, it is 750 volts DC only. All the metro DPR, the detailed project reports are made for 750 volts DC only. But subsequently people have changed because of different reasons, so they did not change.
So 25 kVA metro is the latest one.
I don't say latest one, yeah, could be latest, we can sell that way, but still there's everything I have pros and cons. 750 volts DC is very aesthetic, you don't see any poles on top of no catenary.
Cost wise, is there any?
Cost is, capex is a little higher. Yeah.
It's a DC.
DC. And also the main element is the power losses. It's about as big as the whole quantum over 7.5% of the power will be going in the classes. Whereas 25 kV is less than 1%.
Conversion from AC to DC, there again loss.
Yeah, you're right. But one thing is that when you have a DC system, you don't have any transformer on the train. Because I'm getting supplied 750, then they convert to 1000 volts DC, then AC, give it to the motors and all.
Your three-coach train,
Sir.
in automatic signaling, does it detect the rear of the train in front of it and go into another block section, or how does it?
Exactly, sir, you're right.
Okay, it just detects the.
Yeah. The line side equipment and the equipment
So
on
there
board,
are-
they communicate each other and then they will say, yes, the front is clear, you can proceed. That
So-
kind of interlock we have.
So that interlock is based on some frequency that you are communicating with the train in front of you, or you are.
It's a distance base.
Yeah.
It's
you
a
are-
distance base. The frequency means what frequency? I'm asking about the signal frequency.
Yeah. Are you? Is it a wireless signal?
Yeah, it's wireless. The moving, we can't have wire.
You are communicating to the control or just with the train in front of you?
If you look at this alignment,
Yeah.
maybe next time I think you can watch very carefully. A lot of antennas along the viaduct.
Yeah.
Those antennas are the receivers for my signal. They communicate between the, that's what we call the line side equipment.
Okay.
And which some equipment which is the receivers are not available in the train side, in the train, we call this train borne equipment. Those two.
But still,
Yeah.
at these stations, you have got signals.
That is a fallback option. You have signals, you have the axle counter also. Because the first time we are using here,
Yeah.
those things are coming just because of RDSO, otherwise system doesn't require.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cost wise, Hyderabad metro is costly.
No. Who said it is it's really not costly? It's very, I can say, I mean, the metro is very award really for this kind of a quality workmanship. It's very
As
often.
a consumer, as a two-wheeler,
You're talking about the fare.
fare.
Oh, I thought, sorry, I missed, I was thinking about project cost.
Project cost, if it is costly, then the price also will be more.
Yeah.
But for a two-wheeler,
I think I need to share an information in this context. none of the metros or mass transit systems in the world that doesn't make money for its operations. Number one. Then you may ask me why you are making metros. You are crazy? Yes, we are crazy because we need to transport the people safely with less pollution, less accidents. That's where it's a kind of responsibility of the government and the public, of course. So here they have made this kind of a financing model, and there's a flexibility for the fare fixation. There's a committee. It's not exclusively by Hyderabad Metro or by Naidu or Sridhar. There's a fare fixing committee. They propose to submit to them, and then they made a comparison with the AC bus of high end like Volvo and all. Compared with that, I think it should be equal.
But you are displacing many people and at a high cost.
R&R is a must because it's passing through metro cities. R&R is a must. You can't. Yes, there's a gentleman there waiting.
Any work experience with Metroman? You have any experience with Metroman?
Sridharan.
Yes.
Unfortunately not, but he's my, where I was working as general consultant, he was my principal consultant. I'm not from railways, by the way. Most of the railway people have worked with him, but I'm not from railways. But I do have a lot of meetings, association. Even now, he's an advisor for 2-3 metros where we are working. He keeps frequently, once in a month, twice in a month, conduct regular meetings, we attend. But I didn't work with him directly.
First metro rail established in which area?
In India, Kolkata. 26 years old, underground. Yeah.
What kind of power electronic converters and motors are using?
Motors are regularly we are using DC motors. Now we are all moved to 3-phase induction motors. That's the drive technology because that's more control. And moreover, I wanted to use my regeneration power back to the grid. And coming back to the controllers, they say is the IGBT technology we are using for the conversion of that. That is in the rolling stock perspective. When you're coming to the telecom and all, we are all going with high-end semiconductor chips, which is more small in size and then very expensive. But power supply, yes, maybe I can give more, but others I'm not. I do a lot of system integration, communicating each other within that. Yeah.
Can we have a two-coach train?
Why not? That's what Amaravati is planning. Sorry, Vizag Metro is planning for that. But people doesn't feel like it's metro, right? It's only 2 coaches. It's like a long bus. We can. When there is no ridership, definitely we can do with that 2 coach.
Our Hyderabad platforms are designed for 6 coach.
Yes, sir. That's where you can see.
So what happens if you put a 4 coach train and follow your 6 coach signaling pattern?
The problem is the software designed in the signaling system per se, CPTCD.
Yeah.
Adding one more 3 coach train, then another set of train is just adding a block. But if I put one more dabba to that, one is my couplers doesn't support, and my propulsion system will be different. Right now I have 63% motorization. If I put another motor car, it will be 75% motorization, which is not at all designed, which is desired. So both electrically as well as control-wise, signal wise, we have issues. It can, but it's not that it's impossible. But the design is such 3 and then 6. Chennai, you are right, it's 4 and 6. 4, we are adding another half module. It's like adding modules.
Yeah.
Even one also can be done, but the criticalities and integrities of the system is such. That's the challenge.
So now one of your major junctions presently working is Amirpet. People have to get down and get into another town.
Yeah.
So do you have any proposal of having some of the trains through trains at that junction, or necessarily mandatorily you have to get down and get in?
I think the corridor's design is such a way that Nagol to LB Nagar, Nagol to Miapur. That is true now. People are traveling in that, it's not, maybe you're talking about sometime before.
LB Nagar to Miapur is through.
Yeah.
Not Nagol to Miapur.
Sorry, LB Nagar to.
Yeah.
Right. That we call this now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
LB Nagar to Miapur is through.
And
but
oh.
Nagol or High Tech, you necessarily got to get down.
That's why we call it entrance station, so that we can't do anything. It's required. People have to put in extra effort. Because we can't segregate a dabba, we can't segregate train, to go in that direction. In the same train, people have different destinations. One go to there, one go to High Tech City House. They'll get down and catch another train. And Anything else? Yeah.
Do you have any such this renewable energy putting in the trackside or something to have it?
In Pune Metro, we are talking about 224 kilowatts of solar energy on every station. Everybody switching now, they call it as, in fact, I don't know how many people are aware, Nagpur and Pune Metro, they call it as Maha Metro Corporation, formed by the government of Maharashtra, except Mumbai. So recently when they opened the Nagpur Metro, they declared it's a green metro. So 30 to 40% of the energy they're getting up, in-house. They're not buying from anywhere. That's it.
Hyderabad metro stations are powered with solar.
Not really, partly. They have some solar in the depot. People are switching over to that now. The people are, when they considered it about 6-7 years before, solar was not that prominent. A lot of floating around about the reliability, about the PV cells, about the maintenance, about the costing and all. That's the case.
So you have explained that in the station area,
Sir.
it's a paid area.
Sir.
Paid area, you are billed for staying. You are billed if you just consume the time there.
Yeah.
In case of an untoward incident,
Yeah.
and trains have not come for the past half an hour,
Yeah.
is there any system wherein this particular factorization is removed for the customer?
That time we open the gates, people can go wherever they want.
Exhibition, recently there was
Yeah.
a fire, no? You allowed everybody to get into the train.
Yeah.
Maybe at that time you would have made manual.
It's not manual. That time we allowed the people to get to the train without tickets.
Without tickets, it's
That evening it is.
Yeah.
It's a social responsibility. That's possible. Anytime you can disable the gates. When the gate is open, there's no difference, right? That's only the blocking mode for the people movement.
So you are discussing about the regenerative power in the lifts.
Yes, sir.
CNT can compare to this train system also, no?
Train is major. Trains we are almost we are talking about 20-25% of the power is regenerative power, which we are using in the train auxiliaries, the AC and the lighting.
Deceleration.
Yes, yes. The deceleration itself, earlier, with just 30 kilometers per hour, you are cutting off, you are not using that. But nowadays, the technology is coming. Up to 2 kilometers per hour, the train is moving at speed. Still, we are able to evacuate the power using in the my answer is
20% the power is regenerative.
20% we call it. 20% earlier we are out of 20%, 60-60% we are using, but it has gone up to 85.
What is the total amount of power drawn?
Depends on the
Like for
train.
the 3 bogie or
Okay, each bogie is at about 420 kilowatt motors.
20 kilowatt.
420.
420.
Yeah.
Into 3.
Into 3. It's about 1.2 mega. Yeah. But it doesn't take so much power at any time. During acceleration, it draws some power. Depends on the load in the car
More power.
and the gradient. That's we call it vertical alignment and other factors.
So in a 3-coach train, all the 9 motors work?
No, sir.
Okay.
It's a 63% motors. 2 cars are motorized. 1 is private car. 63% motorization. There are 2 possibilities. One is 50% motorization or 63%. When I have 4-car train, 2 are motorized and 2 are non-motorized. In 3-car train, 2 motorized and 1 non-motorized. I can't run only 1 train with motorized because it will go back. Yeah. Thanks for what a lot of dots. So you wanted to play now? Possible? Yeah, please. Oh, none of you slept, right? Good.
Not you.
Not yet. So I'm successful in my mission.
I think you have to keep the mic near the...
Your collar mic here.
So we did not do design here, otherwise it would have working better.
Mic you have to keep near the laptop.
Maybe I can play in my laptop, that is more, where is my system?
If you just keep the mic near that laptop, that should work.
I'm not the one for that, they are the ones. Yes. So 134, highest. In fact, last 1 year before, we had the number 1 consults in the world, and it's Fortune 500 company. But recently, there's a lot of mergers and acquisitions, so now it came to number 2. But otherwise, it's a very big company. and the turnover is something around $20 billion last year, and this year we're talking about $21 billion. We are across globe. In India, our headcount is about 3,426, including me. Anything you want?
How about job opportunities for young
Yeah,
people?
I think in this film, I thought of telling you all. Normally, we take people with good brains. We do recruit freshers from, but maybe this kind of conferences can help the people better. And for youngsters, job seekers, and would-be professionals, please think that not only IT is the world. There are a lot of many things are available. A lot of infrastructure is going to come in next 10-15 years in India. As far as the information we had with us, the next 10 years, India is going to spend $350 billion on infrastructure. So these are all yours. Get ready for that. Don't hang on only IT. IT is also, I don't say it's not important, but it's equally important of the infrastructure. Infrastructure, the countries grow, citizens grow, and people get comfort. And in metro rail, yes, electrical engineers have a huge scope. Like they can switch out to MEP, power supply, power traction. But this is what one should have confidence on you. Assess yourself properly. The biggest problem and challenge with us is we don't assess ourselves correctly. What we are, what my strength is. But at the same time, don't be too overconfident, but assess properly. And then set a goal, but don't change the goal post. Then sky's the limit. That's all. I think I had a good time for next speaker. Thank you so much for bearing me, and all the best.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm sure each one of us who is in the hall will have a new insight when we step into the metro from now onwards. We think of many parallel operations happening apart from the train moving. At the outset, we thank you very much for coming this long, and instead of designing something somewhere, you are here to enlighten all of us. Thank you very much. And please accept, I request the chairperson of the conference, Prasad sir, Mango sir, and alumni to join us to felicitate Naidu sir. So please accept a small.
Thank you so much. I think this for me. Sorry.